Those of you that don't know me, well, I'm Cassandra. I'm a positive psychology and mindset coach. And this workshop is going to be focused on self-discovery. And we're going to be asking some questions or trying to answer some questions like, who am I? What do I want in life? What truly makes me happy? Now, these are really big questions. So just to manage expectations, it's not like you're going to get one answer like I am X or I am Y. I think these are questions that we continue to ask throughout our lives, and it's sort of a journey, and it's this practice of self-inquiry and self-reflection, which I personally find really, really fun and enjoyable. So thank you for joining me on this journey, and we can ask these questions now together and reflect together. And I really love the sense of community and sharing. And I love the fact that I'm here to share the knowledge that I have with you, and that you can share your insights with me and the group. And I'm sure we'll all be able to learn from each other. Alrighty, so the first element of this workshop, we're going to be talking about values. So our personal values. When I say values, they're essentially reflections of our needs, desires, and what we care about most in life. It's sort of like our compass, the things that we often follow when we're making, important life decisions. But oftentimes we lose sight of these values, or we forget about them, and we do things that go against the values, our personal values. And that's what can create a lot of stress and confusion and unhappiness. So during this first exercise, we're going to start by identifying our key values. So somebody else just logged in. Namai, hello. We've just started, so you didn't miss much.
Okay.
Hey, Greta. Oh, is that you?
Hi.
Namai.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Greta.
Hi.
So Greta's dialing in from Amsterdam as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we just did our mindfulness meditation, and we're going to start with the first exercise, which is defining our personal values. So that's what I was explaining before, that values are a certain set of things that reflect our needs, desires, and what we care about most in life. So, for example, my top values are freedom, adventure, travel, exploration, connection, and personal growth. So those are things that are really, really important in my life right now, and elements that I use in order to make specific decisions. So I would like you to reflect now on what your top values are. I'm going to share my screen, and I have some questions that might help you in identifying these values. And then if you're still a bit stuck, I've also got a list of examples that might give you some inspiration. So in this first exercise, does everybody have a pen and paper?
Yes.
If not, please go grab one. So some questions that might help to identify your values are, think of a time you were at your best, when you felt extremely happy and content. Which values were you honoring? For example, here, for me, I can think of numerous times where I was traveling and where I felt really, really free. So in there, I was honoring, the values of freedom and exploration and adventure. then on the other hand, you can turn that around and think of a time where you felt really frustrated or angry. What was going on and which values were not being honored? So here, for example, the other day I was speaking to a friend of mine and he was going through some troubles. And I said, yeah, well, you can work on them and, you can do some inner work. And he told me, no, I don't have a choice. Things are the way they are. And I got so, so angry because I truly believe in personal accountability. We always have the choice to change our perspective and to change the way we do things. So accountability is another value that I have high up, as well as personal growth. So I'll let you guys take a few minutes and just look at these questions, reflect a bit on what I said, and try and identify your top 5 values. And note, it doesn't have to be something you're good at. It's just something that's important for you. If anyone is still a bit confused or hasn't found all 5 values, you could also take a quick look at this list here. Maybe something resonates. But is everyone okay?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So regarding the values, maybe you're going through a time right now where you have to take a certain decision and you have doubts and you don't know which path to take. Having your values clear can really help in making that decision. So maybe, let's say, for example, you're at a job and you're wondering, you're not very happy and you're like, okay, should I quit? Should I leave my job? And you don't know, you're still in doubt. Then you can ask yourself, with my job, am I meeting my values there? For example, one of my top values, like I said, is freedom. So I know I wouldn't be able to work very easily in a very strict corporate environment that has a lot of rules. Or, for example, I wouldn't be able to be in a relationship where the other person is very possessive. So it's always very handy to ask yourself, when you have to make, an important decision, consult your values and see if it's in line or not. So with the values, like I said before, it's good to have them somewhere visible and use them as a compass for making decisions. When you're stuck, revisit your values, and then you'll often just get more clarity as to which path you should take. Yeah. And then another very important thing is when you're not living a life that's aligned with your values, your well-being decreases. So you won't be as happy. It's something in psychology called incongruency. So when we do things that are not aligned with our authentic selves, and in this case, by authenticity, about values, this will impact our well-being. And this could be in a personal relationship, at work, it doesn't matter. When we're suppressing our authentic selves, we will start suffering psychologically. Yeah.
Mm.
And a really nice exercise that you guys can do after as homework is to take your values and then rate from 0 to 10, how much are you applying your values on a daily basis or in your everyday life? And then think of ways that you can honor this value more. So let's say my value is adventure, and right now I'm, practicing at a 6 out of 10. And then I ask myself, okay, I ideally want to be at an 8 or 9. What can I do to enhance the value of adventure in my daily life? And let's say right now, I'm working, I sort of have a set job, etc. So maybe it's a bit more challenging, but then I can be like, okay, I'm gonna organize to go on a trip, or I'm gonna go to meet up and meet new people, or I'm gonna try an extreme sport. So that's a really nice exercise to just, zoom in on your values and then try and, do more of that on your day in your daily lives. The theory of when we do more of what fuels our soul, we're happy. So we're increasing the good. Yeah, Vivian. Okay, family is very important to me, but how can you combine freedom, for example? Yeah. Well, that depends on, so let's say you want to be close to your family, and then on the other hand, you want to leave and go to another country. And then you're like, okay, I've got two conflicting values. What do I do? I'll ask you the question. If you move away from home, does it mean you love your family less? Can you still be involved with them and connect with them even though you're living in another country? So I would just challenge that the notion of family is important to me, so I have to be there with them physically. So that's one way to look at it, if that's what you mean. And then I also think, and this is something we're going to discuss moving forward, is that sometimes we envision our best lives, but the values we have in place right now are not serving us. So maybe you have the vision to, go and live abroad and, do something in a foreign country, but then your love for your family is keeping you from doing that. So maybe you have to revise that value. In that, okay, in this period of my life, I'm choosing to sort of put family aside. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but, and then, putting priority with values that will help you achieve the life you want to achieve right now. So now I'd like you to take 5 minutes and think and write about someone who you admire and that who you think has had a meaningful life. Maybe who's living or not, doesn't matter. It could be a celebrity, a politician, a family member, just someone that you believe has had a meaningful life. And then why is this the case? What's their story? What did they accomplish? And I just want you to reflect on why you think their life is meaningful and what attributes they have, what traits they have as a person that made you choose them. Yeah. And I can give you my example. So I really admire Elizabeth Gilbert. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. So she's the author of Eat, Pray, Love. And I don't know if you followed her story, but in Eat, Pray, Love, she goes on this year-long adventure to find herself, to eat and to find, to eat, to pray, and to love. And she meets the love of her life there. At the time, that's how she described it, this Brazilian guy. And this is all based on a true story. And then they get married. At some point, they separate, and she sends this letter to all of her fans saying, do you know what, guys? Actually, I just realized I'm in love with my best friend, Raya, who is a woman. So she had built this amazing, fan club and story about finding yourself in true love. And then she just turned it completely around saying, well, actually, I'm gay and I'm marrying my best friend because she has cancer and I want to be there for her. And I just found that so courageous and so authentic because, she let a lot of people down in a way that look up to her and that she gave people hope that, true love is out there or whatever, this fairy tale love. And yeah, she was not afraid to embrace who she was. And yeah, she was there with her for her friend who was dying of cancer. And actually her friend, well, yeah, passed away a few months ago. And the reason I chose her as having a meaningful life is because of this courage and because of this authenticity. Yeah. So, and I think it's just really inspiring to just step into your power and, yeah, be the true you, no matter what other people say. So we're gonna write our mission statement for our lives. So I want you to think of it in this way. What would you want written on your gravestone? How would you want to be remembered? So let's say you're no longer here and people are speaking at your funeral, or they've written something beautiful in your gravestone. I want you to write that mission statement for your life. Or mission statement. I want you to write those words that will be on your gravestone.
So like just one sentence?
That's up to you. So I wrote something down here I can share with you. To be honest, like I wrote this in just a minute or so. I didn't really sit and make it like all refined, but I decided to I'm going to share it the way it is with you guys. And what I wrote was, she was always herself. She was brave, and she let us know that it was okay to not conform and to dance to the music of our heart, even if nobody else could hear it. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, but when I wrote, I was like, yes, this is what I want. So yeah, it could be one sentence, it could be a little paragraph, it could be poetic or not. So just what do you guys want to be? How would you like to be remembered? No? Okay. Let's see. So now we're going to go into the topic of flow. Let me just share my screen again. So flow is a state when you lose track of time and space, when you're just doing something and you're so fully immersed in what you're doing that then you look up and you're like, oh my God, it's 2 hours have already passed and you don't know where the time went. Or you're super like productive and whatever you're doing, you're just like, you're there, you're in the flow. Yeah? So that's what we call a flow state. And I want you to think of a situation where this happened to you, where you lost track of time, things were just flowing, you were fully present, you were in this flow state. What was going on and what were you doing? Yeah, mine are quite similar as well. So I had dancing, making love, so is what you mentioned. Well,
yeah.
Everyone, but there are those occasions where you're like just in that real flow state. Writing, talking about things I'm passionate about, like doing these workshops and my coaching work, and traveling always. And yeah, with these things, I think they're food for the soul, right? So we should do more of these things. And whenever we're in these flow states, they're just sort of an indication that, it's like, like an indication that this is food for the soul. And at least for me, I can tell that in a lot of these things that I've put down, it has to do with connection for me. So when I'm really connecting with another person, I tend to get into that flow state a lot. So I've identified that connection is really, really important for me. And then like with the traveling element, again, it's the freedom and the adventure. Yeah. Okay, another question. So there's quite a lot of questions during this workshop, as it is self-inquiry and self-discovery. So think of a time when you felt extremely present and at peace. What was going on? Where were you? And what were you doing? So a situation where you really felt calm, centered. So a little bit different to a flow state. Because flow states can also be, you can be quite energized when you're in a flow state. Whereas this one is a bit more, okay, I'm really calm, nothing's on my mind, I'm present, just that inner peace. So this is me walking on a beach in Sri Lanka. And for me, it's being by the ocean. That's when I feel completely at peace. So I might be on a boat, I might be at the beach. It doesn't matter. I need the element of the water, and that's sort of like my safe place. So whatever you guys put down, if you're feeling anxious, if you're in a bad mood, if you're in a bad place, that's maybe somewhere you can go to in order to recharge. Alrighty. So with this last exercise, here I'm gonna definitely ask you to not judge yourselves and not be hard on yourselves. And this is a I am declaration. So what we're gonna do here is I want you guys to just write something that starts with I am, and then continue writing your personal declaration. So I'll read what I've written for myself, and this is I think more about connecting with the heart and just letting things flow. So whatever comes out, just write it. And it's not about like I'm Cassandra, I'm a coach, but going sort of beyond those, let's say, the programming of society and the labels that society gives. So I wrote something here that I'll read out for you guys. So I'm an abyss of knowledge and love. I am limitless and only confined by the constraints of the mind. What I know is that I know nothing at all. And in this nothingness rests the ever-present wisdom of source, of love, an energy that is always there in abundance, never lacking. In the warm caverns of my heart, in the comfort of being authentically me and walking my true path, I have experienced the feeling of home. I rest in the knowing that this home, however dark the night, can never be lost. I rest in the knowing that what is meant for me will always be mine. I rest in the knowing that every moment is wrapped in eternity and sun-kissed by the pure energy of unconditional love. So it's sort of like a personal declaration.
Oh, that's poetic.
Yeah, I sometimes have these, poetic tendencies. So I think it's just about connecting with your heart and then just starting to write whatever comes. So yeah, I'll let you guys give that a go. If nothing comes, that's fine as well. If things just start flowing, go ahead, go with it, write. Just be open and see what comes out without any judgment. Okay. So I think, yeah, the intention of this declaration is more to, let's say, write from, like I said before, the heart, and just sort of realize that we're way more than our jobs, or actually, we're not our jobs, we're not our social status. We're not, how good looking or how thin we are. Essentially, I think, it's our personalities and the love that we spread in the world, the laughter, the good energy. So I think it's focusing sort of on these characteristics, or these things that, you know, can never be lost. Yeah, the intention of the exercise was, yeah, who you are when everything else is stripped away. Maybe, you know, who are you, like Diane says, at your core. She said that to me privately. Yeah, so maybe that's something you guys can reflect on after. And that's why, so for example, my declaration was a lot based on, you know, energy and love and just what I know to be true. So yeah, and I think the intention again of this exercise was just to show that we're way more than all the conditioning and the expectations of society. And sometimes we might feel less because, oh, you know, someone maybe is not in the relationship they want to be yet, or they don't have the job they want, or maybe they're not as fit. And, you know, we have all these shoulds from society that make us feel less. And here I just wanted to give the message that, you know, you are all more than enough. And that light that you have inside of you is always there. That beauty that you have inside of you is always there. And it's just about recognizing that, and recognizing that at your, you know, at your core, you are love, and you are good enough, and you are worthy. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I think we're at the end of the workshop. I hope you got some good insights into the things that are important for you. Maybe this is some food for thought of, you know, how you can start incorporating and practicing and honoring your values more. Also the exercises on meaning. So the people or the examples you wrote, what attributes they have, what you would like to be written on your gravestone, just all those things. I think that I hope brought a bit more perspective as to what's important and what drives you as a person. Yeah, I think it's a lot about taking, like I said, those values and sort of the reflections you guys made today and turning them into action. So how can you be more of, you know, these values? How can you embody them? How can you honor them? How can they help you make decisions? So this is like the awareness, and then it's making these things more tangible, you know, stepping into them, honoring them. So I think that's your homework for after this workshop, to just make these things more actionable.